All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for hopping on, or if you're watching this after the fact. We are super excited tonight because I know you might have been hearing a little bit of buzz here and there about just another reach out method. And as Emily is going to share in a minute, it's just a matter of pivoting sometimes from one thing to the next, just kind of whatever is working and meeting people where they are. So I am going to just be quiet and let our friend, Andrea and I's friend, Emily Tassoni, is going to share with us tonight. She is super giving, you guys. We're all giving her the Spirit of Arbonne Award in our MVP and Maui group because, and she is an RVP. Am I right? ERVP, RVP. And oh my gosh, I just mailed you something and it's Missouri, Minnesota, one of those M states.
It's cold.
It's
Montana.
cold. Where she lives is cold. That's what we're going to say. But Emily's going to share with us, like she so graciously did, spend an hour with some of us on the phone on Zoom the other day and shared so many resources. And this is the Spirit of Arbonne, really it is. You're going to see it in action right here and now because she doesn't, we're not connected. She doesn't have to take her time and do this. So gosh, thank you so much, Emily, on Super Bowl Sunday night. But I am just going to let you take it away. She's got lots of good stuff to share. So I'm going to mute.
Thanks, Polly. Thanks, Andrea, for letting me be here. Hi, everyone. So thanks for those of you that are here live. If you're watching the recording, totally fine. And you can always reach out to me with questions. If you have questions after the fact, find me on social media, reach out to me. So the first thing I want to ask before I jump in, because I like to be a little bit interactive, what are the main ways that those of you that are on tonight have built your business? In person, virtual, a mix, one-on-ones? If you could put it in the chat, just so I have an idea of kind of what the mix is, I would love that. So if you've used multiple avenues, put those in there. So one-on-one, in-person, virtual, healthy happy hours. Okay. Virtual, mini one-on-ones, Facebook parties. Okay. Did any of you do, okay, so Polly in person, Andrea in person, anybody else other than Polly and Andrea do in-person events, or has it mostly been, okay, cool. Okay, so I am in Helena, Montana. I have owned my business for a little over 8 years. And the team that I came in on was all in-person events. So that's how I built my business. And of course, we were always taught, you don't question your system, you don't change what works, you just follow the system. And until COVID, that's what worked. I built a thriving business off of in-person presentations because you can make such a great impact. You can really get to know people there. The follow-up is easier, in my opinion, because you've made a direct connection with someone and they get to try the products right there, right? So in person was like bread and butter. And and I should say too, when I started my business, there was like no social, you didn't do anything on social media, right? Like it was even taboo to even say you had a business with Arbonne on social media. I'm sure some of you will remember that. So it is true, you should not recreate the system and you should do what works. But the reality is we're in a time now where the pivot has to happen more often, right? So I like to think back to when Arbonne started in the 80s, they did things very differently than how we were doing them in 2013 when I started my business. Can you imagine what would have happened when the internet really took off and Arbonne had an online presence if they had said, no, we're going to still fax in orders and just like make phone calls on the landlines, right? You have to pivot. The deal now is the pivots are having to happen quicker. So I know Jessica Champagne did a fabulous job of introducing us all to the 15-minute Facebook party. And I will say when COVID happened, it was a drastic shift for the nation that I am a part of, because we did nothing virtual. We had not been trained on anything virtual. We had been encouraged not to do virtual. All the trainings were out there about how to use social media, how to use virtual. And we were encouraged in our success line, don't do it at all. So when COVID happened, it was a huge shift. I don't know what that looked like with all of you. I don't know if you had embraced virtual, but we had not. So it was like an overnight flip of the switch. How do I continue to grow my business now that my whole calendar for March and April has been canceled? How do I shift that to virtual? And what does virtual look like? Zoom parties worked for us for about I don't know, 2 or 3 months until everyone was Zoom partied out. Facebook parties took off. I basically took the 15-minute Facebook party, turned it into what would work for our team, which was the basic, just added a few different things in there. And it worked phenomenally. I was able to grow my business across the country and to grow my team. And then they stopped working. I don't know if anyone else has felt that way. I know Polly continues to have really successful Facebook parties, and some people do. What I started to find, because I was doing between 6 and 10 a month for a while, and people were not accepting my friend request. I was offering free fizz. No one was sending me their address. I couldn't get anyone to respond to the messages after I sent them out. And the whole point of a party is to create a connection, right? Like having an event, whatever it is, whether it's a one-on-one, an in-person event, a virtual event, whatever, is to create a connection, because not everyone is going to buy right away. I don't know about all of you, but I'm still this way. And previous to Arbonne, I was as well. If I'm going to someone's in-home party, whether it's cabbie or jewelry or whatever, I am not buying anything while I'm there, because I am a take that catalog home person, or look on the website and like think about what I want my order to be. And that is the point of events, of those connections, is to create a connection so you can continue with follow-up. And I'm very big with my team about, you have to follow through on your follow-up, because once you make those connections, if you don't follow through on following up, then it's lost in the wind, because they're never going to remember your name. Maybe they will, but they're going to be like, my friend had this Arbonne party and I don't know who their name. I don't know their name. I don't know. They're like, unless you're very impressionable right away, they're not going to remember your name. They're going to remember you were with Arbonne, and 5 years down the road, because you didn't follow up, they're going to say to another consultant, I went to a party once and the consultant was really nice. I don't remember her name, so I'll buy from you. You have to, like, the follow through on the follow up is huge. And that's what these events are about. So I was feeling very stalled out. My team was not embracing the Facebook parties. Most of my team is over 50. So getting them to embrace Facebook parties was actually like, pulling teeth, truly. They just weren't into it. The ones that did embrace it hit the same wall that I did. So I have a really good friend in the UK who is a regional vice president. Her name is Lisa Turner. Tassoni Turner. We met in line when we were crossing the stage as new regions. She was right behind me, and we became like, truly, she's one of my best friends from that like 1 hour of time together. And so she and I have been connecting a lot, and I've been saying, what the heck is working over there? Because she has been like top sponsor for months. I mean, their businesses are exploding over there. And she said, oh, we do WhatsApp parties. And I was like, well, I mean, nobody in America really uses WhatsApp. So how can I transition that for what we do over here? So I just took what had already been created, right? I did not recreate anything. I did not do this myself. I looked at what has been working for a certain area, and I knew that it could work here. And that's what we've done. So instead of doing WhatsApp, most of America is not on WhatsApp, but most of America is on Facebook or Instagram. We just transitioned it to a messenger party. The nice thing about how Messenger works is, and this is a little bit of logistic, but if you have an Instagram account and a Facebook account, and you start a messenger thread in Facebook and you add your Instagram self, then in Instagram, you can add people from Instagram and have one party going from Facebook and Instagram all at the same time. Does that make sense? How you could just logistically, which is awesome, because then you don't have to have multiple, you don't have to have an Instagram party and a Facebook party. You can have one messenger event going, and you're just posting the content from Facebook if you want. So all it is like a flash event of detailed information about our products. So here's the other thing with Facebook parties and the 15-minute presentation. Most people are not going to watch a 15-minute video. And the reality is 90% of people are watching social media with the sound turned off. And really, you have like 8 seconds to grab their attention. Mm-hmm. And groups on Facebook, which is, I don't know about you all, but that's where we were doing our Facebook parties, where, we'd create a group instead of an event. If they don't change their notifications right away, they don't see it again. even if you tag them, they're not going to go back and look because they're like, Polly, who's Polly? And oh, she tagged me in like that party page. They don't go back and look. They miss all of it. So then you don't get any follow-up because everyone is doing parties on Facebook in groups, every other company. And the 15-minute presentation is great, right? Like it's shorter than our in-person presentations used to be, but people just, they're not going to listen to it. They're not going to watch it unless it has captions. And that's a whole nother conversation about how to put captions on a video and a 15-minute. So the nice thing about the Facebook, or I should say the messenger parties, and we're calling them flash events. You can call them whatever you want, but flash event is what I decided to rename them, is that they can look at it on their own time. You're posting a 1 to 2 minute video at the beginning of who you are, a very short why party, why story. And that's easy to watch. Now, if you want to like take it a step up, there are different platforms you can use to put captions on it so that when you post it in there, that if they're watching it on mute, they can still get the gist. There are a few different places you can do that, but veed.io, you can add captions, and for a certain length, it's free, and then you can pay for it. But captions are a really great thing to do, not just so people will watch it, but also for accessibility. If somebody is hearing impaired in any way, having captions on there reaches a greater audience. So just something to keep in mind. And then you're posting information about, this one that I've put together for now is more like a catalog presentation, right? It's a little bit of something from everything in the catalog. They do have in the UK, and I will be pulling from this and asking for help to do it, but they do have parties for each area of the catalog. So you can do a skincare party, you can do a healthy happy hour flash event. But for now, in order to pilot it and just see how it worked, we just went with, like the catalog. You give them 48 hours, just like you did with the 15-minute Facebook party. The thing that's really gripping about this is you're offering little like secret sales in there. So you're like, oh, if you buy 2 or more from the Age Well and the Derm Results line, then you get a free sheet mask. So when you follow up with them, you can say, don't forget about those secret sales. They're only available until the party is over. You sending a sheet mask to someone is like small potatoes as far as what it costs you in order to bring new people into your pipeline. And you can do this any way you want, but I get these stamps. I think they're 80-cent stamps now, the butterfly stamps. And I just have like just a little envelope, and you can put the sheet mask in here and mail it right from your mailbox. You don't have to go to the post office. It'll just go through as non-machinable. So that's what the little butterfly stamps are, the non-machinable first class. So it's super easy, right? If somebody gets a sheet mask, you can just like put that in the mail. You don't even have to go to the post office. So, or like if you do a hand cream, very inexpensive, right? If you do one of the shower gels, what is the other? A water bottle. Now the water bottles, that's a little bit clunkier to mail, but if somebody buys a healthy living package, you sending a water bottle, awesome. Okay. I know that Polly said you all have seen the like format, or you have access to the document of the format of that, but I want to show you, and you might have already seen
I have to
too.
make, or Andrea, I think you might have to make her a co-host.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and some have seen it, Emily, and some haven't, and then I did move it to our boards, so it is in our boards now.
Awesome. Okay, so just really quickly, you all have access to these images through Canva, or however Andrea and Polly have given you access to them. I gave leaders the link to the Canva. That way, when I update them, they're just there for people to access. So you're posting an image with some content, and the content is in a different document. I'm not going to pull that up right now, but this is basically what you're sharing with them. Like, here's how to earn free products, the different packages. And I also feel like it's really important to share what the retail and the discount cost looks like, because that helps me to make an informed decision. And I know there's like toss up about that. Some people will say, don't put the cost on there. If it's worth it to them, they'll buy it anyway, but whatever. So retail and preferred client discount costs are on all of these. And I tried to pair them so that you could get to a 150 order. So if somebody wants to get 3 boxes of fizz, right, that they can then get free shipping and their PC sign up. So we do, and like I paired the 3 bags of protein together. We on our team promote the greens drink and the green gut glow. So I did each of those in case somebody would rather have a fizz with theirs as opposed to the skin elixir. A bundle of masks. So you can see they're being introduced to all sorts of stuff from the catalog. And the information you're posting is a snippet of detail for each of these lines. The hair care line, as soon as the new form of the gelée comes out, I'll update this image. The age well, the image I picked for the age well was purposeful because I want people to know that anybody can use our skincare. It doesn't have to be women. I mean, it can be women, and that could be a woman's arm. You know what I'm saying? That could be anyone's arm. That actually looks very similar to my arm. I am very hairy. True hairline. I don't know if the Ready in 5 makeup set is going to change with the change in our makeup line. So just, again, you'll have access to all of this. The baby care line is going to change in the next few months. So all of these will be updated, but then there's also a build your own bundle. So if somebody's like, I don't know, you can help them build it, right? So those are the images that you have access to. Of course, you can create, like if you have a favorite set in there that you want to create an image of course, please feel free to do that as well. This is just a nice, easy way to take what has already been prepared and plug it in. Now, there are some other images that you'll have access to, the quizzes. So you're going to throw little quizzes in there just to get people interacting. And there is a post about who we are, like our background, who we are as a B Corp. What's the other thing I wanted to say about that? Oh, when you post these, so something else you can do if you're doing these parties on your own, not as a large group with some of your other teammates, is you can create a recommended cart link for each of these packages. And when you post the information about the baby care line, here's the blah, blah, blah detail underneath it, you can put the recommended cart link. Click here to add this to your cart, or click here to go directly to this order. Some of the people on my team have been piloting that, and it has gone swimmingly because then people can just click on it and place their order. And if they want to add other stuff to it, they certainly can. But that way the link is there. The PC registration is added in because all of these were paired together, not all of them, but close to be at least 150 or more. So those are the images. And you guys, these images I pulled off of the content kit. And then I just really like Canva. So it's very easy for me to go in there and play around. Okay. The main thing with these events is you have to follow up. Not everyone is going to interact. It's kind of like Facebook parties, right? Not everyone interacted in your Facebook parties. Sometimes you would do a 15-minute live or the 15-minute presentation and nobody was there, even the host. So don't worry so much about how interactive people are during. Make sure you're following up. So what we have been doing is we set the messenger thread up and get everyone added in. And then before we do the first post, the first party post, we'll say something like, make sure and look for a friend request from me, your host, so that I can follow up and help you with any questions you might have. And then friend request each of the people that are in there. And we are still in the phase of piloting this. We've been doing it for a little over a month now. So I'm still updating some of the resources as far as what should your reach out look like? How should you follow up? But if you have reach out, follow up verbiage from the Facebook party, that will work for this as well. It translates just as easily. You can send them a private message and say, thanks so much for being a part of Andrea's messenger flash event. I'm so excited. If you have any questions, let me know. You have 48 hours, keep an eye out for the secret sales, and I'll be doing a free product giveaway, right? Keep it simple. Just remind them of what is happening. And you're going to post that information in the thread as well. And you can even say to them, it'll be fast and furious and a lot of information, just so they know that they're about to get 50 messages in an hour when the party happened, when the party is happening. And then the follow-up, right? So whatever funnel system you have. So I recently paid for a project broadcast account because it seems like text messages work the best for my preferred clients. I get the best response from texting. And I was really tired of like spending 3 days texting everyone. So I just paid for a project broadcast account, which is I think $15 a month. And I can just like type out my message and then say, send this to all 150 of my PCs in the morning at 7 a.m. and it does it. And then and it's a service that they can opt out of as well if they want to. I got everyone's permission before I like just put them on this listserv. But that is what I am moving my people into. So after the party, I'll say, if you'd like me to keep you updated about specials and savings and new products, just drop your cell phone number and I will plug you into, how I keep up with people. I do have a VIP page on Facebook, but the same thing has happened there as I have been noticing in Facebook parties, like no one is engaging because they don't have their notifications set to see all the posts. Or if they do, they're just not checking it. So sending those individual text messages I have found works best for me. If you don't want to pay for project broadcast, you can use Hit 'em Up. Do you guys know about that one? Hit 'em Up. Okay, so Hit 'em Up is great too. I mean, it takes a little bit more time because you have to hit send to each person, but it still saves a lot of time. You can still create one message and send it out, right? So that has been the best format for me. I think email or Reach. Yep, Reach is a good one too. Thank you, Polly. Email, some people still use email. I mean, I know we all use email, but I haven't found it to be the best way of following up for my customer base. But you could do a little bit of both. You could do an email and project broadcast or Hit 'em Up or Reach, however you want, or you can just do old school and reach out, just, basic text message, copy paste for the time being until you have an income that allows you to pay for one of those. Hit 'em Up is not that expensive though. I want to say it's like $30 a year or something. I don't know. It's been a while since I paid for it. So far for our team, this has been much more beneficial than the Facebook parties. Of course, there have been some where there's not been a lot of interaction, but the follow-up has been better because now people have been introduced to a lot of different product lines and you can take the conversation to the next step. What really interested you and what kind of information can I get to you? Oh, we're having another event, a rejuvenation station event. Can I invite you to that? Because that will give you another look at our community and a deeper dive into the products. You can even try some of those. It's a great opportunity, right? The follow-up is bringing them into the fold a little bit more, creating that relationship, inviting them to more events that you're doing, whether virtual or in person. I'll say for me, where I live is not really where I want to grow my business. I mean, it's no offense to anybody, but like, it's just not really my people that live here. This is a global mobile business. I want my business to grow outside of where I live. So why would I not use virtual options to grow my business? So like doing things like the rejuvenation station, doing things like this messenger flash event, finding ways to connect with people virtually, and plug them into other virtual things you're doing is a great way to continue that relationship building. It used to be that you could say it takes 7 to 10 touches before someone will make a purchase or join your team. And now it's like double that because people are bombarded every day with information on social media about products. It's everywhere.
Just really quickly, because Lauren Rose, you asked about Rejuvenation Station. We are gonna talk about that. It's a whole nother thing, which is a whole nother incredible thing.
It's on that video so has everyone seen that video? Or no? Like raise your hand if you watched that video about like the video that talked about
it was Emily training us the video.
So look at that video. If you don't know what that is, we will train on that later. But if you want to know what that is, because that's an awesome thing that we're going to do team wide and actually like plug into their team to do it, just so we can offer more resources and be part of that, and just be part of that community, just because the more people, the better. But if you're curious about what that is, check out that video. If you don't know what I'm talking about with video, you posted that video, right, Polly?
Yeah, I posted it in our Success and Simplicity. Yeah, Emily, everybody knows you already and loves you. So you're already a star in our Facebook group, but that's where it's posted. And so if you don't know where that is, you could probably search for it I don't know what you could start, but just ask one of us, we'll tag you.
Yeah, well,
But it's
I'll send
there.
it to you because I've sent it to several people just one-on-one as well.
Yeah.
So they can
So
look at that.
we've had, some of us have had a few of these. Like I had
Mhm.
3 this week, 3 Facebook Messenger parties. Christiana's had some. One thing that I made the mistake of, Emily, is I thought that it would, and I reached out to you about this, that I was thinking that the Messenger, if I then sent them a private message, I was mistaken on this, that they would see it. But then I realized, no, they don't. I still have to friend request them. But there were some real pluses about this Messenger thing. One thing is everything stays in order. I really like that, because if somebody's late to the party, they can go and just start from the top and read down, as opposed to a Facebook group where things get all jumbled. Not that it matters, but it's still kind of nice that it's just, hey, here's me, I'm introducing it, and then here's a little bit about Arbonne, and then boom, here's the things.
Mhm.
So, and I would absolutely agree with you on follow up. I mean, we're still following up, even though the party's over. We're still, we're still following up. What do you do? I do have a question though.
Yeah.
If, because I get it, you're right. I mean, people don't always respond. It does not mean that the party is a flop. But what do you do, Emily, when nobody is answering the quiz questions and you have the giveaways? What's your fix for that?
So we haven't yet come across if nobody answers anything. Usually within the 48 hours, somebody will come back through and answer some of the questions. So,
or like
if
one person answers, do you just give one gift, one prize? Yep. Okay,
Yep.
Cool. That's what I figured, but.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if nobody answers, then I mean, I think it's similar to how if you have a Facebook party and nothing happens in it, right?
Yeah.
You could like throw an extra question in there, or I mean, there's so many ways you could kind of work around that. But
yeah.
As of yet, we haven't had to deal with nobody interacting at all. We have had a few where nobody interacts during the party, but then people will come back and interact afterward. And we just did a big group party. So with our whole region, I guess it was multi-region, we did one. So we actually did some bigger prize giveaways, just to encourage people to invite. And it was awesome. We had so much engagement, and so much engagement for the 2 days after, and lots of people placing orders because of the follow-up. So it's a great way to like kickstart new momentum in your business. And to follow up with people. So you could host your own, right? To like start off, host your own, invite your current customers, because maybe they don't know about the newer products. Maybe you'll be introducing them to a line they haven't been introduced to yet, right? There's so many ways you can go about it to kickstart your momentum. And that was big for our team, because I mean, I mean it when I say the majority of my team is over 50, and they kind of checked out for the past year because they totally thrived off in person. And this kind of brought the in-person energy back more so than the Facebook parties. I don't really know why. But so far it's been really positive. I launched a new business partner 2 weeks ago using this, and it was phenomenal. Really great success, really great interaction. So don't be afraid to launch people this way. Yeah. And do you guys have any questions? Like, I mean, I could just kind of talk about all sorts of, I could go on tangents about fun things, but do you have any questions about any of this?
So I have a couple, so I've done 2 now, and I don't know. So I have access to your boards, and so I've been following that pretty accurately. However, I have been adding a few like extra things, and I don't know if you advise that, or if you would advise just like sticking, because the extra things are, I added like a check-in poll like the day after the event, because they are totally different parties. Like one is tons of interaction, and then the only interaction I'm getting are like the thumbs up emoji, and I'm like, can you ask questions? That'd be great. So I decided to do a poll, because I was like, I don't know what's going on with these people. So I'm curious your thoughts on like the extra. And then also, as far like, obviously follow-up is super, super important, but would you message everybody like separately before you start the party, or just after the party? And then another thing I was thinking, so Polly, I'm not sure. So I know you're connected with everyone on Messenger, even if you're not friends with them. So I don't think you do have to friend everyone. I might be wrong. I haven't been.
I noticed that people didn't see my, like I sent out right after each one. I did exactly like I was trying to follow exactly. So I sent out the private message and then it never looked like they saw it. And then I was like, oh, so then I friend requested everybody. And then a few people accepted and then they answered me. So I kind of thought, oh, I don't think they saw it before my private message, but at least they see like they were, you can see that, hey, everybody is pretty much seeing what's going on. I think that it's like anything else, honestly. I do think, like Emily said, it is really just, you're making that connection and you have to find a way to stay connected and it's going to take time. I mean, we have people, but the 3 that I did, I mean, they're all, it looks like all of them were getting at least 2 orders so far from each. So the first one's about 400 so far. The second one is probably going to be 400 or 500. Not that that's the only thing that matters, obviously, looking for way more than that connection wise. And then mine from yesterday, I met with a girl today and then I'm, talking. And so it's coming. And, I think that you're right, Emily. I think it just takes like, bringing them into our community. Like,
And I mean, and honestly, like how I look at all of this is just like tomorrow I'm doing an event at a Pilates studio in Gadsden, like driving, schlepping everything during our Valentine's dinner. So it's going to be a little late tomorrow. But the thing is like, again, some people might say, oh, I do booths and they work. Some might say they don't work. At the end of the day, our system is the same. We get in front of 40 people a month, period. Doesn't matter how you do it. So you might be someone who's awesome at like connecting with people by sending messages out over Instagram. You might be someone who is awesome at Facebook parties and you get people like for whatever reason, it might work for you because like, and it's funny, Emily, what I'm finding is it's not that they're not working. It's that people aren't booking them, like we're not being able to get people to book them is what the issue is. But regardless, like what Emily's saying, like we have to pivot. It doesn't matter. Like we're just changing out the worm on the hook, and like next month that worm might change again. And next month the worm might change again. But like some people might find that they do this and they're like, this is awesome. And I'm just going to do this all the time, And so like, I feel like, I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's never like a question if like you're wondering to yourself, like, I don't know if this would work for me or my group or my market. It's not what you should never ask yourself what works, because if it works for Emily and Polly, like it works for you too. The question you should always be asking yourself is, does this duplicate? And it does,
Very
because like we have a template. So
Yeah.
like, that's the question you should be asking yourself. And again, like Christiana, she has 2 completely different parties. Like, that doesn't mean like, if she would have just done that one and not the other one, she'd be like, well, this sucks. This doesn't work, but she has the other one that did work. So it's just a crapshoot, like with everything else, like we're fishing, we're not hunting. We're just sitting back in the boat, casting out our line and seeing who takes the bait.
Well, and just to throw something in about like parties working, I have done so many Facebook parties. I mean, I love them, but one thing that I'm noticing, especially since I started doing the messenger ones, is that like, just like you're selective with your business builders, like you want to attract the people that you want to work with. It's kind of the same thing with hosts. Cause like just looking at my 2 different parties, I had a phenomenal host. And then I had one that like disappeared after she sent the invites. So a lot of people are kind of like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do a party, but like, are they actually going to help you, or are they just wanting like free product from you, or so you can be a little selective with your hosts too. It's not a bad thing to do that.
100%.
Good point.
Yeah, am I saying it right? Christiana?
Yes.
Right. Okay. I think you can message them before if you want to, or after. I mean, definitely after, but I mean, I've been messaging some of them before. Honestly, it's just at this point in my life, it has to do with time because I'm juggling mom and COVID life and business and anyway, so you can message them before, definitely after. And I think it's fine to add in posts like, to kind of like feel the room, if you will, and get people to engage again. I think that kind of stuff is fine. And that's why these conversations are so good, because we're kind of still in the phase of piloting this as well. And what has worked in the UK is definitely, the way they do things over there are different than how they're one time zone. Like, this blows my mind every time I think about it. Maybe everybody knew that. I'm always like, Lisa, how do you have events with so many people on? And she's like, we're one time zone instead of however many, I know there's four for us continentally, but like, you count Alaska, Hawaii, right? It's a ton of time zones. So we are still kind of working through, like, I was looking today at in the UK, they've been doing a Valentine February themed WhatsApp party, and they threw in at the end some graphics about the business and preferred client program. So I'll probably add those in, right? So we're just kind of still working on what works, because the pivots are happening so quick.
Yeah.
And again, that doesn't mean you change it up, right? The basis, like Andrea just said, is it's always 40 faces. How do you get in front of 40 faces in a duplicatable way and build relationship? Because that's what it's all about. How do you add value? How do you build relationship? I mean,
Right.
I could talk about that until you're blue in the face, till I'm blue in the face, till you're bored. I don't know. I could talk about that all day. So
Wow.
Yeah.
So also good. I know we're a little bit over time, so I want to be good with your time, Emily, and with everyone's, but I mean, I think it's just, sometimes you have to, like she said, you have to pivot and be willing to just jump in and try. Just jump in and try. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I don't know. I'm a fail forward gal, so I kind of jump without the net, but everybody's different. So anybody else have a question real quick before we let Emily go? It's so good to have you on here. And she's, that this is, like I said, this is the spirit of our bond. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And you guys, this is how we do it, and we're better together. So hopefully we can also, I think Andrea's maybe spoken for your team before, she said, and that's just what we do. We just help each other. So thank you so much, Emily. That was amazing. I know you guys got a ton of value from that, and we are all going to be booking our parties this weekend next. Yes.
And you guys,
Thanks so
please
much,
reach
Emily.
out. Find me on social media. Please reach out. Like, I am all about the collaboration. So,
Awesome.
just reach out and say hello. So thank you, ladies, for having me on. I'm
Thank
going
you
to
for
part
doing
ways.
this.
Thank you so much, Emily. Okay, have a good night. Bye, everybody.
everybody.
Happy Valentine's. Bye.
Bye.